everyone. Thanks for joining us on Chicago Tonight. I'm Brandis Friedman. Here's what we're looking at. A look at what's at stake as Kamala Harris and Donald Trump prepare to face off on the debate stage tomorrow night.
Seems like all you hear lately from politicians is a bunch of mudslinging.
Plus, what issues Chicagoans want the candidates to discuss during the debate. And with disability rights in the spotlight after the DNC, advocates on the lesser-known ways that language can be harmful. And now to some of today's top stories. The city is making moves to address this year's $230 million budget deficit and next year's anticipated billion-dollar gap. Chicago's budget director today is announcing a citywide hiring freeze and limitations on travel and overtime effective today. The overtime expenditures exclude public safety operations. The city cites a decline in revenue and Chicago's Board of Education not making a pension payment for this year's budget gap. Check out our website for more on the city's budget forecast. Meanwhile, records show the city has already paid more than $1 million defending a lawsuit brought by the parents of Adam Toledo, the 13-year-old shot and killed by a Chicago police officer 3.5 years ago. The wrongful death suit filed by Elizabeth and Marco Toledo is slated for trial in early November. City officials have not responded to WTTW News questions about the decision to use taxpayer funds to pay a premium to two private law firms to defend Officer Eric Stillman, who is facing termination by the Chicago Police Board. The police body cam video of the shooting that happened in March 2021 sparked demonstrations and renewed calls for police reform. There's more of this story on our website as well. Visitors to the future Obama Presidential Center will be greeted by glass artwork mounted into the building's exterior. The Obama Foundation announced the installation today in a video with the former president as well as the artist.
So the idea with this was to create a window that's in this monumental building. It offered these two opportunities to see a painting in its entirety from the exterior, but then from the interior to be looking through parts of the painting out into the landscape.
The piece, titled Uprising of the Sun, is a colorful series of 35 abstract painted glass panels inspired by the speech President Obama gave commemorating the 50th anniversary of the March on Selma. The 83 by 25-foot artwork is the third commission announced by the foundation and the first to be installed. The Obama Foundation promises over 20 original artworks across the campus once it's completed, which is expected to be in the spring of 2026. Up next, high expectations for tomorrow night's Trump-Harris matchup. That's right after this.
Chicago Tonight is made possible in part by the Alexandra and John Nichols family, the Jim and Kay Mabey family, the Polk Brothers Foundation, and the support of these donors.
Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are set to face off on the debate stage tomorrow night. It's the first meeting of the two presidential candidates since Harris became the Democratic nominee just 2 months ago. As polls show, the race remains tight. The debate could be a deciding factor for voters. So we hit the streets and we spoke with people to find out what they want to hear from the candidates tomorrow night.
It would just be nice to hear their platform, because it seems like all you hear lately from politicians is a bunch of mudslinging, and you don't really hear, okay, well, what are your policies? What's your platform? What are you going to do with, if you get elected?
I just would like to hear Harris just state what her plan is for the middle class to help as far as our lives are concerned.
How they're going to stop bombing little brown kids overseas, maybe, how they're going to give veterans stuff, how we're going to help homelessness here. I don't see how we continue to send billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine and to Israel when there is like thousands of dollars that needs work here, and we could reallocate that money.
We have an immigration problem in this country. And I don't know why the two sides cannot get together and write a decent immigration law. The last law, I think, was in '86, and it's ridiculous.
I'm interested in the homeless, the homelessness and that immigration piece also. But to be more people-oriented as opposed to the big business.
I would like to see some more like for child care, for daycare. If you have children now and you're working, you spend so much of your money just paying for that child care. You have to take care of the kids, but if you're spending all your money on that, how can you afford to pay for a home?
Economy. What can you do to make the economy get back to where it used to be?
You know, what I tell people is like, just look at your life. How's your life been the last 4 years compared to the previous 4? If it was better, then keep voting along those lines. If it's worse, then maybe you need to vote in a different direction.
And thanks to everyone who shared their opinions with us. As we mentioned, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are preparing to go toe-to-toe at tomorrow night's debate. ABC's David Muir and Lindsay Davis are moderating the highly anticipated event in Philadelphia. And the stakes are high for both candidates, as their performances could sway undecided voters and change the narrative in the campaign for president. Joining us now with more on what to expect are Alexandra Sims Jones, CEO of the public affairs firm APS & Associates, which has worked for Governor Pritzker as well as the Obama Foundation and more. And joining us via Zoom, Chicago native and former White House Communications Director Mari Mossing-Will, who has prepped many candidates for national and local debates. Thanks to the two of you for joining us. So first, the last presidential debate between President Joe Biden and Donald Trump, former president, not well received for either candidate, really. Biden was broadly thought, as we all know now, to have a fairly poor performance. He dropped out of the race after the Republican National Convention. Trump may have performed better by comparison, but many voters were left wanting more substance from the candidates.
I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. That he's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I have, how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
To be clear, the candidates are talking about their golf games in that clip. Mari Mossing-Will, let's start with you, please. What is at stake tomorrow?
Well, I think the whole campaign really begins tomorrow. We've seen Kamala's burst out of her convention. It was good, but it stalled. And the campaign is almost exactly tied, even in the 7 swing states. So, and I think that they both have to try to define what the rest of the race is about. In terms of Trump, he needs to make it about the failures of the Biden-Harris administration, and Harris needs to make it about how unpleasant Trump is personally and the chaos that follows him around. Both those views are already well absorbed by the public, but whether or not either one of them is going to define the race is still up for grabs. It's like the beginning of a baseball game when they throw out the first pitch.
Alexandra Sims Jones, same question. What's at stake tomorrow? What do Harris and Trump have to prove?
Yeah, I think there's a lot at stake. However, I think there's a huge amount of energy behind Vice President Harris right now. I think she defines a new way forward. We just saw a Democratic convention with so much energy that she has behind her. I do think that she needs to kind of embody what your last speaker just said, where think about the last 4 years of your life and were they better then or previously? And if you think about that, most of your voters will know that they were better with President Biden and Vice President Harris. And if she can continue to bring that back throughout the debate and focus on the policy, she'll be in a great spot.
She's had a lot less time to define herself as a candidate, obviously. What are you hoping to hear and see from her tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when we were talking to the voters and they were talking about inflation, I think you need to talk about the fact that that's caused by corporate greed. I think that you need for her to get back to the fact that we care about women's rights in the Democratic Party. And sometimes, it's not hard to draw a parallel when you see a party on the other side that says that they care about families and they're anti-IVF, or you just saw what happened in Georgia. I think that it's very easy for this administration, and more specifically the vice president, to draw a contrast. She just has to do it. And I think it was a little cringy for us to watch the previous debate. So now we're excited to watch this one because she can call out Trump on his lies.
Hopefully there are a lot fewer cringe moments.
Exactly,
Maury, what challenges do you see for Vice President Harris?
Well, Vice President Harris is not known for being able to string together sentences in a coherent way. So, and she hasn't given any interviews, and but she has been rehearsing, and she is an attorney. So there must be the native ability in there, but I think a lot of people are holding their breath. 90 seconds to 2 minutes is a very long time on a debate stage to be able to keep speaking in an orderly, understandable fashion. So that's a big challenge for her. Also, will the moderators challenge her on her changes of her positions, which are quite distinct from what she had when she first ran for president. So she has said she's changed her positions, and people do evolve on these things, but she said she hasn't changed her values. So I think that's a key place for the moderators to probe. And also, President Trump, I think a lot of his reasons why some people don't like him, a lot of people, half the country don't like him, is because of some of the behaviors that he's had and some of the things he said. Now, while a lot of that is already baked in, I think what he needs to do is try to avoid giving any more fodder to the media for the narrative that follows the debate. He must control himself, and he must not seem anti-woman, which is the way it will look if he denigrates her or condescends to her in the debate tomorrow night. I think he can do that. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask, what do you think is the former president's greatest asset? What do you think he really needs to use to his benefit?
Well, I disagree with what your other panelists said. I think a majority of Americans, maybe a slight majority, but a majority of Americans think that the economy is terrible right now, and they wish for, maybe nostalgically, the economy that Trump had. And I think if Trump would come back to that and talk more about his plans to right the ship, to right the economy, just as one of your man on the street interviewers said, he wants to hear the plans, not more mudslinging. I think if Trump can do that, especially on the economy, I think it will be a great night.
Alex, what about you? What do you see as the strengths and weaknesses for the candidates?
Yeah, I mean, I think one I would have to say, Vice President Harris is an incredibly accomplished prosecutor. So to say that she can't string along a sentence, we shouldn't even utter that. That's just not true.
I said she's not known for that, but that she is an attorney, so the skill must be in there.
It's in there, and it's been proven to be in there. She's done it on the Senate floor for years, so it's definitely there. And she's done it, and I think she will do it tomorrow for us all to see. And I think that's what kind of scares President Trump, and is that he will be against somebody that will be able to challenge him. That's why he's said already a couple of times, I don't know if I want to come to the debate, or the debate is rigged, the election is rigged. He's hedging. He's getting ready for that. I also think the only thing when I think of Trump, the only thing he has to offer is sometimes good nicknames that I think can be funny, but even that's kind of getting old. So that's the only thing I've ever really seen from him. I would agree with that inflation's in a bad place, but what I was saying is that that's driven by corporate greed, and if you look back, you have to understand why Trump was given a good economy. Trump was put in that place by Democrats. I think that our voters understand that, and that's going to continue to be the case if Democrats are able to do what they do. With a plan to raise the minimum wage at a federal level to $15 in 2026. These are the types of things that we need to see. We need to see our working families in a place. Democrats believe in a diverse economy.
So there's also the great mic debate, because they will once again be muted while their opponent is speaking. Harris has asked for that rule to be changed. And then there's also, again, there's no audience, as there was not in that last debate with President Biden and former President Trump. Alex, coming to you first, how do you think these rules fare? How did they fare for the previous debate, and how do you think they're going to fare for this one?
Yeah, it's always interesting, when you're on a campaign, because you do have to negotiate your rules and what you get and what you don't get. I think probably the Harris campaign was thinking, let's unmute the mics to see what Trump is mumbling under his breath in these awkward moments, because he says some things that can be pretty unhinged. To my earlier point, I think she would have liked to say more and be able to have more time, because she's pretty eloquent and talented that way. I think she'll be fine either way.
Mari, same question to you.
Well, just as someone who's done it both ways in a lot of debates, the audience will be happy that the mics are muted, because the moderators tend to lose control when they're not, because it just devolves into shouting back and forth and accusations about personality and other things like that. It'll be a much more intelligent debate with the mics muted. However, that was the original rule that they should be muted. I think it will serve Trump well, because you won't be able to hear what he's saying. He won't be encouraged to interrupt her. And I think, again, that goes to my thing. He must not look condescending or anti-woman, and I think it will help him.
Before we run out of time, Mari, briefly, what will you be watching for tomorrow?
I'll be holding my breath to see if Trump can behave himself. And if he can, then I think the race is tied, but I think he will have gotten off to the right start. And of course, I disagree with everything my co-panelists said.
Well, we're here for robust discussion. We don't have to agree on everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think the economy is the place to go. Both people feel strongly about the economy.
Before we're out of time, I briefly want to give Alex the opportunity to answer the same question. What are you going to be watching for?
Yeah, I think I'm most excited about seeing Vice President Harris call Trump out on his lies, and a mix of hope. She has to do both. She has to give us a hope for the future, but also we're ready to hear her call him out.
All right, should be fun and important for everyone to watch tomorrow. My thanks to Mari Mossingwell and Alex Sims-Jones for joining us. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Up next, disability rights advocates on the impact of language. Stay with us. It was a powerful and memorable moment from last month's Democratic National Convention. It came when Gus Walz, the son of vice presidential nominee Tim Walz, emotionally cheered as his father delivered his acceptance speech. But online commenters mocked the 17-year-old's actions, sparking backlash. The teen has ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, an anxiety disorder, as well as a nonverbal learning disorder. Disability rights activists are speaking out, reminding people of the harm that can come from this language and other language directed at people with disabilities. Joining us now is Timotheus Gordon, a research associate at the Institute on Disability and Human Development at the University of Illinois, Chicago. Timotheus, thank you for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me here tonight.
So first, briefly, if you would, remind folks what neurodivergence is.
I think of neurodivergence as the different ways that our brain sees the world, processes information, or how we navigate feelings. So you could throw ADHD under that umbrella, autism, mental health, any developmental or cognitive disabilities under that umbrella, but we mostly use neurodivergence to celebrate that we use our brains in different ways.
Absolutely. So in that moment during the DNC, we saw Gus. He gets up, he starts crying, he's cheering, quote, "That's my dad," which any parent of a 17-year-old would be thrilled that a child, that a
Exactly.
17-year-old would be proud and thrilled, so proud of their parent like that. But what was your reaction to some of the comments that were made about Gus after that?
Well, I would like to point out in particular the comments coming from Amy Jacobson and Ann Coulter. Now, is ignorant enough to see people still making fun of disability in general, but it is very shameful and very unprofessional to see two people in powerful positions making fun of Gus at his moment, especially we have somebody like Jacobson, who is a high school volleyball coach and a prominent media figure as well. And of course, Ann Coulter, also prominent media member, making those remarks.
Right. Well, and some of the
Regardless,
folks.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say some of
Okay.
the folks who made those remarks online, they retracted them or they took down the post once they learned of Gus's disability. But did that make it any better?
Absolutely not. It's like vomit. Once it's out there, it's out there. Can't take it back.
It's like vomit. All right, I'm going to write that down. So let's talk about the language itself, Timotheus. How does that kind of language have an impact on someone who might be trying to find the support or help that they need to support them?
If people use language like the R word or crippled or other derogatory terms, then that will eventually get to the community stakeholders and those who can provide resources and jobs. If, let's say, you as a service provider hearing those comments, then that person may reject or refuse to please for help from a person with disability for resources, because based on what the person said about Gus or other people with disabilities, they will assume that that person is not fit to be in society based on those comments. So that could have a huge impact on not only people with disabilities themselves, but also who has the power to support them or not to support them.
People who provide those resources. There were also many comments, that referred to Gus as adorable. But what's the problem with some of those comments as well?
I mean, if he's a good-looking guy, which I'm assuming he is, then that's not a problem with it itself. But from a disability lens, we often called either evil or adorable simply because we are seen as either less than or childlike or bad for society, when in fact people with disabilities like myself or neurodivergent folks in general like myself are human just like anybody else. We are capable of lots of things, including how we see ourselves and how others should see us.
Right. So some of those comments can be infantilizing.
I think exactly.
You also live with an invisible disability, and full disclosure, I'm also the parent of children who are neurodiverse. What impact does it have when people don't recognize your experience as a person who is neurodivergent?
People get to miss out on a great story if they limit my experience to if I fit the box or not. If people just limit me to either disability work that I do or the fact that I have an invisible disability, then people will miss out on how wonderful a friend I am, or the fact that I'm doing my best to raise my son, or the fact that I do lots of other things and known for other things besides my disability.
All right. So there's a lot we could talk about here, Timotheus, but we have to leave it there. Thanks to you for joining us, Timotheus Gordon at UIC. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
And that is our show for this Monday night. Don't forget to stay connected with us by signing up for our newsletter, The Daily Chicagoan. And you can get Chicago Tonight streamed on Facebook, YouTube, and our website. And join us tomorrow night at 5:30 and 10. City officials announce a hiring freeze and overtime cuts to address budget gaps. Our Spotlight Politics team dissects the budget and more. And with another high-profile school shooting, our WTTW News Explains series looks at the Illinois law that bans so-called assault weapons. Now, for all of us here at Chicago Tonight, I'm Brandis Friedman. Thank you for watching. Stay healthy and safe, and have a good night.
Closed captioning is made possible by Robert A. Clifford and Clifford Law Offices, a Chicago personal injury and wrongful death firm that is committed to supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives throughout the legal profession.